pain of losing a child. No script to follow, no timeline for healing. When a parent grieves, the world changes. And yet, in the silence, in the heartbreak, we must learn to hold space, to witness the unthinkable with open hearts, to sit with the sorrow, the stories, the love that remains. Tonight, we honor the parents whose grief is deep, whose courage is quiet, and whose love endures. Let us listen without fixing. Let us feel without turning away. Our guest speakers, Ken Collier Sr., Ingrid Smyrna, Tiffany Carter, hosted by Ashley Mackenzie Smith, and welcome to the third week of Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's stand with grieving parents, hold space for the unthinkable, and remind them that they are not alone.
Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am Ashley Mackenzie Smith, and I am the mother of Jalen Mackenzie. I have a script, you guys, but I cannot go by this. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of throw this out because now I'm nervous by looking at the script when I've done this multiple times. So I am not going to go by this script. So we're going to put this away. We're going to go ahead and start with the opening prayer, and then we'll get grounded and get started. Heavenly Father, we gather this evening united in heartache, but also in hope. We lift up every grieving parent represented here. Wrap your loving arms around them as they navigate the unimaginable loss of a child. Let this space tonight be a sanctuary for their hearts, a place to feel seen, heard, and held. Bless each speaker, with each listener, and all these silently suffering. Help us hold space with compassion, share truth with gentleness, and offer comfort rooted in love. We pray for strength, connection, and moments of peace in the midst of pain. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So we've done the opening prayer, and then we're going to go ahead and just jump into getting grounded, you guys, because we're going to kind of go off the script. Like I said, I'm not really good at scripts. And before we get started, I want to make sure that we're actually taking in what we're going to receive from Tiffany Carter and Ken Collier. These are two amazing speakers, and I will give their introductions in a minute. I hope they're happy with my little intro that I came up with because I kind of stalked their Facebook pages to get some information. And so let's go ahead and get grounded. So right now we're going to take a moment of silence for all the loss of all the lives that have been lost. Let's pause and breathe together. Place one hand over your heart. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Whisper your child's name or your loved one and hold it silently. The breath is for them. The space is for us. All righty. So let's get started. We're first going to start with Ken Collier. He's the father of Kenneth Collier Jr. Why you got to smile? Because now you're making me real cheesy.
Hey, go ahead.
All right. So pretty much we're going over with Mr. Collier. We're going to talk of a father's perspective. A lot of times when we go on these town halls, it's always moms. So how I got Ken's information was through a lady named TK who has an organization where she works with you. So when she said, "Oh my goodness, I have a mail that would be good for your town hall," I had to text right away. I think I was in the midst of a conversation when I was texting Ken that we needed him because we need a father's perspective when we're talking about grief because they go through it as well as the mothers. And a lot of times they get left out, and we want to make sure that we're understanding their perspective, their side, and what it looks like to them, because it's not going to look the same from a mother's perspective. All right. So Ken turned his grief into advocacy. His son, little Ken, passed earlier this year. Ken is the founder of Futures Without Fear and has hosted candlelight visuals and built youth empowerment circles in his son's honor. So that's a little bit about Ken. I'm gonna let Ken tell you who he is, what he does in the community, and then I have some questions that I will ask him, and so that we can get a father's perspective. So Ken, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So of course, my name is Ken Collier Sr. I'm the father. I'm a father that lost my son, Kenneth Collier Jr., to gun violence. But I'm also the founder of Futures Without Fear, where I now dedicate my life to helping young people and grieving families that's been victims of gun violence. Um, but I'm here tonight to kind of share my journey, my healing, and hopefully bring some light to somebody else, especially other men or fathers that may be walking through a dark space like I am right now, that's grieving and looking for answers or just looking for somebody that's been through what they've been through or what they're
So
going
what was your relationship with your son?
through. My son was, of course, it was my only son, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's a little different when it's your only boy, right? But he was more than my son. He was my purpose, my pride, my joy, my best friend. He's the reason that made me want to be the man that I am today, right? Because I knew I had somebody that I was raising that was looking up to me, right? So I raised my son on my own after his mom passed away on his 10th birthday, uh,
Mm.
7 years ago. So of course, our bond was a little deeper because I was raising him, as a single father. Um, we kind of grew up together. You know what I'm saying? He kind of taught me some things as well, even though he was my son. I learned a lot from my boy. So it was definitely more than just my son. It was everything to me. We laughed together, we struggled together, we dreamed together, and I saw myself in him. Right?
Mm.
Yeah. So my son, we had a deep bond. Of course, father and son. Sometimes you have those battles and those issues and things like that. But that's my boy, my pride and joy. The reason I wake up every single day and go out here and get it positively and do what I do because of him.
Wow. And it's crazy because you hear the stereotype. There's always a stereotype of if you are a young parent, oh, this is going to happen to your kids. If you are a single parent, oh, this is happens to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the fathers are not active. It's only moms.
Yeah,
So that's one of the good things about having a male on here,
yeah,
especially in the Black community and people of color, not just necessarily Black, but there's always a stereotype that is centered around a male when it comes to fathering.
yeah.
So,
And
and
when we,
I've run into lots of good fathers. I've
yeah,
run into fathers that actually take on their stepkids and probably do a better job than the actual biological father. So
yeah,
there are fathers out there, you guys, that are doing a thing.
yeah,
So how did your organization um how did that help you with grief? Like,
yeah.
so when you started your organization, how did that help you get through the struggle of losing your son?
So, for one, it allowed me to help other people, right, and help them with the things that I wish I would have had, right. Like this morning, I would listen to one of my son's songs this morning, right, and it was called "Letter to My Dad," and he was just
Mm.
talking to me, telling me what was on his mind, how he was feeling, things that we should work on and do better with. And throughout that whole song, the one thing that I understood from the song is like I wasn't the best communicator. I didn't communicate as well with my son, and it was some things that he didn't understand, some things he was dealing with from his mama past and him being angry, upset, and just not knowing how to maneuver with those feelings and those emotions. But at the time, I myself didn't know quite how to communicate and how to grieve properly and how to get my son the proper help and things that he needed. So with this program and this organization, I'm hoping to provide that and provide the things that I wish I would have had and didn't have, whether it's the trauma and grief support, um, mentoring for my son and healing for my son as well. So that's how the organization was born. One, because I lost my son, but also it's my way of turning my pain into purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of had two choices. When my son dies, one, let the grief destroy me or let it drive me. And I choose to
Mhm.
fight for other kids in a way that I fought for my own son. I
Mhm.
think every time when I'm working with young people, especially, I want for them what I wanted for my own son. A lot of times I see my face on their face when I'm talking to them and they move and act and dress and talk and do all the same things my son did. So it kind of helped me with my grieving process by being around kids. Yeah, and then just like I say, fathers or parents that may have been struggling like I did, just being able to get them that support get on things that I'm learning now and be able to pour back into them. It's my way of helping. You know what I'm saying? There's also my way of grieving as well.
Yeah.
And throughout this whole organization, I'm running to other people, meet people like yourself, and just having a platform where I can talk and speak and about how I feel. That's helping a whole lot as well.
So what is it that you want other people to know when it comes to a father grieving? Like what could you leave with other fathers that are grieving that may need some help, don't know where to turn to, because like that's just a very small circle of men who can actually communicate what grief looks like. So the support system is very small. Women, mothers, we've kind of like all figured out how to come together, but I don't see very many fathers that are able to articulate what grief looks like to them, and they don't really have that many support groups.
Yeah, it's definitely not a lot, and I say a lot, but I don't think it's very few support groups that's just for men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I think men need their own separate support group because we go through things that most women would never understand, right?
Right.
I know when my son passed away, I remember, I got the phone call when he passed away. I'm gonna just give you a little backstory about that. But when he passed away, as I'm going down through the hospital, going in the emergency room, not the emergency room, but the consultation room down at Grady, and the doctors come out and they tell me the bad news. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, sorry to tell your son been shot in the chest. We tried to work on him, tried to do everything that we could, but sorry to tell you that we couldn't save him. He passed away. Right? And at that time, I kind of just lost it, right? Fell to the floor, passed out on the ground for a couple of minutes, had to be picked up and everything. But as I was getting up and just trying to deal with my own emotions, my own pain, my own feelings, my daughters, my nieces, my nephews, my mom, my sisters, everybody was in the room crying as well. Like most men do, I tried to suck it up to be that protector and be that father and be that man, and make sure my family was good around me. Where in the moment I wasn't even processing my pain the way that I should have, because I'm trying to make sure that my kids and my nieces, nephews, and mama, everybody good, because they over there crying and going crazy as well. So that's one, right? We're always looking out for other people feeling, trying to be that man, that leader, where we don't take the time for our own feelings and our own emotions a lot of times. Not only that, like, it's hard to grieve as a man, especially when your child or someone or loved one passed away, because most men, we have to get up and go right back to work to pay the bills, right? So that's something I experienced as well, trying to grieve, but also having to get back to work and be that provider and take care of the household as well. But not only that, of course, we always talk to be tough and
I was just about to say that whole thing.
Yeah, we raised like that since we lived.
Yeah.
So we don't process it the way that we should, because one, sometimes we feel like it's a sign of weakness, right? Or in my case, like I said, I felt like I had to be tough in front of everybody else because they was looking up to me, and I know if I went crazy crying, and they was gonna do the same thing, and at that moment I felt like I had to be tough. And I think we're not really taught how to process our emotions the way that we should.
Yeah, it just seems like when you look at a man, they're not allowed to have a vulnerable stage, because, like you said, we're looking at the man to be the provider, to be the leader, and so a lot of times you don't get to be able to really express your feelings or your emotions about stuff, because it's always like, men not supposed to cry or toughen up. You know what I'm saying? Get back on it. You a man, or you a boy, and that happens with young men too. Is that they're not able to process their emotions and things because we're always telling them, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. You a man, you a boy. You gotta toughen up.
Yeah, and I think like as men and as boys, a lot of times we do process some of our emotions, but it's the wrong way. Like a lot of times it results to anger. You know what I'm saying? That's the other part of grief that, especially in men, that's not talked about a whole lot. What happens when that anger comes in, when you want revenge for who just killed your child?
Right.
and then that's a battle in itself. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're supposed to be the provider, the one protecting your family, and sometimes you feel like, man, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't do whatever sometimes. So that comes into play as well, that most people don't think about, that anger that sets in when it comes to men, and especially young men, feeling like we the one that's got to be the protector,
Mm-hmm.
and revenge our loved ones. So just learn how to process that. I think that's something that's very, very needed as well.
Right, right. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you?
So a few different ways, of course. On socials, my name's the same on all socials. Ken Collier, KenNCOLLIER. But also, I just started a group just for men. It's called Men Grieve too, right? So just as we was talking, a support group just for men. So it's an online community where we meet up every week, where you can just come in and share. You can just come in and listen, right? And just be a fly on the wall and pick up what you need to pick up, and process how you need to process. And then we do actual in-person meetups as well that'll be starting next month. And it's called
Awesome.
Men Grieve too. So you can get there by actually going to my page, my Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. So you guys hear that, right? There is a male support group here. Ken Collier, he has started one that you can join if you need assistance, if you need some type of help, you need somebody to talk to. And he also has his youth organization and all the other stuff. So he's doing quite a bit. So go to his Facebook page, Instagram page, and get linked up if you need some assistance, you guys.
Yeah, and the group just started from just me grieving, and I got friends that's lost loved ones, that's lost children, and we like let's just link up, right? Let's just talk, let's have a conversation, and it just start growing. And we about 15 men in right now, but hopefully,
awesome.
Hopefully, it's really, really needed. So as men find out more men, I definitely know more men to join.
Yes, I'm gonna definitely share it on my page too, because there are a lot of men. It's just that we don't really know that many groups, so it's good that we at least know one that they can get connected with. So thank you so much. We're gonna move on to Miss Tiffany S. Carter. So you guys, I have to tell y'all, because I have to brag on her. We have known each other for it's coming. We have known each other for a very long, long time. We grew up in the same church. We have the same background when it comes as far as spirituality and things like that. So we grew up Seventh-day Adventist. I have to throw that out there for everybody out there that's listening to Seventh-day Adventist. Yep, that's how we grew up. And she has two beautiful daughters. And one of the reasons why it was so important to bring her on here, and I'm going to let her tell you more about herself and what she got going on, but she's everywhere. She does lots of speaking engagements. She goes back and forth from Atlanta to Huntsville, Alabama. So she's always on the move. But she has a story for you. She has not lost a child, but she has almost lost a child. She has almost herself had a experience. I don't even know how to put it, Tiffany, because I'm not a specialist or nothing with talking, but she's had experiences that I feel like she can touch in on grief as well as some afterlife experiences. So I'm really excited to have her on here. She also writes books, so she's not just a speaker, a motivational speaker. She's an author as well. And congratulations to Maya, because Maya is, I don't like her choice of school. I'm going to put that out there. I was rooting for UGA, but she went to Alabama. She's a Roll Tide now, you guys. So, yeah, I see that house is going to be a little different.
Divide.
But she had so many offers, so I definitely had to throw that out there because how many schools she got accepted to?
28.
28, yes. So I had to mention that because even though I didn't say nothing, say nothing real big, I'm watching. I'm always watching. And I was really excited about that. And I was waiting for the school. I was just waiting and count. I'm like, I know she's going to UGA. I know she's going to. No, she didn't do it. She went with a rival. But it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
She went with Arrival. But the name of her book is 7 Steps to Healing While Grieving. And she'll tell you a little bit about her book. You can purchase it on Amazon. But she is a grief coach. That is what she does. She does a lot of other things as well. Because every time we do a town hall, we try to have someone on here that's pretty spiritual, that can kind of help you with your holistic lifestyle if that's what you choose to do. So she is a Reiki coach or a Reiki specialist or
healer.
something. What is it called?
Reiki healer.
Yeah, she one of those, y'all.
I just say it.
So she can definitely, if you need your chakras balanced or just anything. I remember when we connected. I'm sorry, I gotta put my plugs out there for you. We connected. My son actually came to her, and so we hadn't spoken in a while. And so that is how spiritual she is, you guys. So if you need some assistance, I'm going to say definitely hit up Miss Carter. Not the Beyonce Carter, but the Tiffany Carter. So Tiffany, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and about your book, and leave us something special.
Well, hi, how you doing tonight? Thank you for having me, Miss Ashley McKenzie. Also, along with Ken Collier, I definitely respect your stories, what you've been through as parents. Is definitely something that I don't think people can even fathom, just by me just touching the surface, and I just couldn't, that's how I know that God has a plan for each one of us. But the reason, you know, um, I'm here is because, number one, let's start back, because Ashley gave so much of my personal stuff. I really don't talk about the Reiki healing journey because it's so spiritual and it's so sacred, meaning that most of the time the people that come along my path, they have experienced extreme PTSD, traumatic, and different things. But my first journey, because she said so much, we've been knowing each other like a lifetime. I did experience, actually, Monday was the day that I was supposed to pass when I was 10 years old. If a lot of people understood, in 1993, we had a pandemic of meningitis, and most of everybody died, except me and this guy. And I had one of the worst strands of meningitis, and it put me in a coma. On that state of going in a coma at 10 years old, I didn't understand the conversation of the nature of what I was going to endure, or even, thinking about this coma, until I started getting plagued with grief. On that same year of me having a coma, I remember my friends, everybody, when I finally came back to school, because it did leave me in coma. I was temporarily blind, temporarily paralyzed so I just wasn't supposed to make it, but I did. And from that day, I knew at 10 years old, it was a reason and it was a season why I made it. But even in that year, I experienced grief to another level. One of my friends who said in the hospital, I was in the 4th grade, and by November of that year, and I'm just telling you, my first, I haven't even talked about this on camera. My first experience with grief was actually one of my friends. I remember her wanting me to come back to school, and she was saying, "I'm so happy you're back." Her mom brought her to the hospital and all that. And that November, I was met with the unthinkable. Her and her whole family got killed in a car accident. Every time I think about that, when I want to give up, I remember Shay's story. Here goes a girl. We were supposed to pass the same year. I did it. So then, leading on to this point, in between, I'm trying to grab the story in between. How did I get to the book? And it's broken 7 Steps to Healing While Grieving. In 2009, my dad died suddenly of a stroke. I was 26 years old. It was unexpected. I rode in the car with my on the way to my sister's birthday party. Never in a million years would I thought that I would lose my father. But to date, in his bloodline, my dad died at the same age that his dad died in. his bloodline, until my youngest uncle just reached the age of 60, no other male that was a Carter has made it past 55. So I knew it was a generational curse there somewhere. Also, when my dad died, his mom died right behind him, which you knew my grandma, because she grieved him so bad. So that woke me up. Then by time 2013, I had realized, coming from the city of Atlanta, I had already been to 100 funerals, and I moved to Alabama, and people looked at me and said, what, 100 funerals? Like, what's been happening? Violence, everything else, you know? And I thought that was like normal until I realized it wasn't. And so I became an insurance broker to advocate for people what they should be doing, because my father, when he passed, his income passed with him as an entrepreneur. So it was a lot of things happening. So I'm the youngest, but my mom was left. And so I'm not a man, but I took a role because I was a single mom at the time. I was like, well, I'm not going to leave my mom out here. So now I got to care for my mom. I got to care for my mom. I got to care for my kids. It was like, basically, I felt like I had to resolve all these things, but in return, I'm helping everybody else, but I'm not helping myself. But through life insurance, 2019, I was like, I want to leave my clients with more than just the check. I want to leave them with something more. You know, how can I help this thing? And I kept going through grief, so much sudden grief over my lifespan. So in 2019, 18, my mom was really, really sick, and God told me to write a book. And I said, well, what should I write about? And he said, grief. That's what you know, turning your pain into power. You need to write about grief. And so I wrote about grief, not knowing that my book was going to come out in the beginning of the pandemic, and we were all going to deal with grief on a national level, right? So you're talking about God was in there, because I remember my book was supposed to come out in 2019, and I was so mad, and it came out March 2020. So that was a whole start, actually, you know, with a whole tour, because I didn't know that my pain was going to make room for me. See, a lot of people say your gift make room for you, but I want to let y'all know your pain do too, okay? Your pain will make room for it. So when I started writing, because God wrote this book, like I can tell people I did not write this book. God wrote, and he said, you need to give some steps on grief. Well, God, I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. He said, what better experience is the person that experienced it? Mm-hmm. Tell them what you're going to identify. So I started going through what I identified when my father passed. When somebody passed suddenly and your life changed in a matter of minutes, that humbles you in a way that nothing else can simply humble you. And I tell people, if you have not dealt with any sudden death, not the death, because you know people gonna go, even when people, you probably talk about your kids, man, actually talk about, oh, I know how you feel. No. You don't know how. I even told Ashley, I said, now, mind you, my book came out and my daughter almost passed in 2021. So let me jump here. And I told her, this is before Jalen passed, right? So she's walking me through me about to lose my daughter. And I'm like, I cannot take this. But it was something that happened there. And, you know, if I could tell parents, you know, because I know you cannot sit here and tell me, Ken, that you do not worry about your other children. That fear gets unlocked. Like, I grieve more after my child lived than when she was sick, because it was just like, oh, here you go. You're not invisible. This can happen. So then it was a new area of grief. Then when I would see kids, her friends pass, Jalen passed, kids in my family pass, then you're living with survivor's remorse. Mm-hmm. Why not them? Why? Because I remember vividly, and that's when we're talking about a spiritual connection. Before Jalen passed, I remember vividly me and Ashley having a conversation about him going down to your dad. Now I got to talk to the parents that have those gut feelings. Can I talk there? Can I be a little transparent, Ashley, about that conversation?
Go ahead.
We was talking, Ken. We was talking because I'm pretty sure you had a sign before your son. This is how we help other people. It was a sign somewhere, and we thinking that we all in our children business, but this is how you handle the survivor's remorse. You listen to those gut feelings that everybody, every single one, even before things happened with me at 10 years old, I met God before I had to go to coma with him. My mom just wasn't listening. So Jalen, she said, Tiffany, I don't know about Jalen going to Memphis. I said, well, how do you feel? She said, I just don't know. And all I know is 2 weeks later, Jalen was gone. It's a lot that I deal with a lot of different things. I see a lot of different stuff. I'm a community advocate, not just for my children, but for children that I have so many of I've never seen this, Ashley. When my daughter graduates, and I'm not even talking, I'm just talking about I almost lost my daughter. But what she didn't say is I keep dealing with grief over and over again that God said, I need to use you as a resource, sis. I need you to tell people that there's hope. Because right after that, my children's father passed. Suddenly. All this sudden stuff. Sudden. Because one thing I noticed, when a person starts going through sudden death, God has put you in place for a reason. Because everybody gonna go through their storm now. You just before me, I don't know how that storm gonna look. But one thing that I have been, if you are on one mountain, you on a valley of another. All I did was every single thing that's happened to me, even my daughter she said that's gonna graduate. When you're talking about God, that child, she went deaf. Her dad, hearing came back, God. Her dad passed, still the top of her class, God. So when you're talking about grief and these steps, one is you're going to be in denial, you're going to be angry. The other is then you got to accept it. Like, then you're going to feel, before you accept it, when that denial, you're going to feel guilty. What could have I done? And I would sit there with Ashley, it's nothing you could have done. It was divine order. I know we don't want to hear it. And I tell my kids, because of these moments in my life, I can have a real conversation. Mm-hmm. I'm a radio person, so that's my show. Real Tiffany Talks. We can have real conversation and saying, I don't know if I'm going to make it tomorrow or even today, but this is what you have, and this is who you have, God. Because nothing in this world is guaranteed but what? God. No matter how much I sit here and tell you how strong I am, and I hate people calling me strong, Ashley. I hate it with a passion. Because when you've been to war, hell, have you ever seen a soldier get out of war, Ken? Have you ever seen a soldier, you be like, oh, you sure did fight that battle good. You such a strong soldier. You've never seen that, have you?
No.
You have never seen that. So when people say you strong, I be like, I am not strong. God just gave me this battle to fight, and I'm just fighting it, and I can't give up.
Yep.
I promised God I wouldn't give up. So, to you parents, when you think about, I don't know what to say to the loss of a child, but I tell you this, they safe. They are so safe. And I told her, most of these kids, I don't know what age your child is, but I know Jalen was 21, 22?
20. He was 20.
20. I keep counting the ages with 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had so much purpose in him. He was a writer. He produced music. He did all this. And it's some 40-year-olds ain't even did this. When God say it's time up, even now, so I don't grieve the same way, because I know that nothing is promised. But what I have for the people is this. If you live on purpose, you never die. Legacy lives forever. I told my kids, and I think I told all my friends, I know you might grieve me, you be like, dang, Tiffany gone. But let me tell you something, and I'm going to leave you with this. It's a story about my grandmother, so I can relieve you on grief. I got two real quick, so I can tell that part. One day, in 2009. I thought I wasn't going to make it when my dad suddenly died. And I was crying in the car because if you never thought about committing suicide because the grief's so hard, you ain't been through no grief. You haven't been through grief. You been through your cousin grief, maybe a third family, but when somebody changes the chemistry of your family in your daily life, that's not your life anymore. So I was sitting there in the car and I said, God, I can't take this grief no more. I need my dad. I don't want to be here no more. So he said, hey, Tiffany, I'm crying. I'm crying. It's around Christmas. You know, them first holidays, them first birthdays is something that'll take you out. I never want to be at the beginning, but I've had to be at a lot of beginnings. So he said, if I did everything that you needed me to do, if I saved everybody, you would never want to go home. This is not your home. And I really don't have a religion. I believe in God, angels. I believe everybody belongs under the umbrella of God. And so when I tell you this is not your home, this is not, we just passing through. So then I leave you with my grandmother. All these deaths I seen, I only saw one person who chose to pass. That's my grandmother. She chose to pass. She would ask me every day, Ashley. She's like, is God coming to get me? Is God coming to get me? I was like, why does she keep asking, is God coming to get me? And so one day she said, can you call God? I said, all right, I'll call God. I said, hey, God, well, my grandma ready to go. And so when I finished and hung up the phone, she leaned over. She said, what God said? I said, he ain't ready for you yet. But God blessed me to see her close her eyes. And she had the most beautiful smile on her face. And I didn't understand. She died in 2012 because if you keep living, you'll understand what a lot of stuff mean. They said, as the old folks saying, keep going past and by and by, keep living. In 2022, when at 23, after my child's father passed, because you know you feel like all the cards are stacked against you. God, why you keep choosing me for this cross? Because it's yours to carry. I had to remember my grandmother. When you choose to live, you never die. You gonna smile on the way out. But if you do not live and you just exist, it is grief, it is agony. So why I do what I do, and I told you a little bit of this, Ashley, to keep you going. Why you do what you do, why Ken do what he do, and everybody out here who's doing something to better each other in an effective and positive way from their grief, their pain, I promise you, when you close your eyes, that was your cross, the bear, and you gonna have a smile on your face. This is not our home. When you're working for well done's instead of congratulations, life looks a lot different. And even through my grief, even through my sorrow, it has been a pedestal to empower my community, empower each other. It's humbled me. It's grown me in ways that grief has grown me in ways that nothing else has been able to humble me. But I tell you what, I'm going to keep going. And you know, my grandma say, run on, see what the end gonna be. Because there is something absolutely at the end waiting for you, waiting for me, and not just God, baby. Them babies waiting at the end for us. You understand what I'm saying? And I have lost a baby, not a child, but I have had miscarriage. And I couldn't, you remember I told you I couldn't take it? I could not take it. And that's the first time I said this in public. I almost died. Like I could not take it. So I could not understand. I don't understand how it feels. But what I tell you, keep doing what you're doing and you will heal one day at a time while you're healing another person. Turn your pain into power. Broken 7 Steps to Healing while grieving. I'm Tiffany S. Carter. My name of my radio show is Real Tiffany Talks. You can follow me on www.realtiffanytalks.com where real conversations are happening and all of us are a part of these conversations.
Let's
Now
go.
y'all see why I don't have a choice but to step up. Because
Let's
I
go.
am definitely, my support system is strong, 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 strong. It was just embedded in us. So when y'all see me doing stuff, trust and believe on the other side, I'm Sometimes I feel like losing it, but I have a very, very good, strong support system. So they will not let me fail. They will
No.
not let me quit. And that's why we go and we go and we keep going till we get where we need to go when we go. And we just get the job done. So all the stuff y'all see me do on Facebook, now you can see where some of that's coming from, because I don't have a choice. They're not gonna let me do it. They're not gonna let me lay down. They're not gonna let me close my eyes. So I'm very grateful for the support system that I have. And you guys, if you don't have a support system, just call one of us. We can help you. We'll be there. It's
Yeah.
a lot of people out here that can help. And we do understand that support systems do look different from everybody. But that one person that you may need to reach out to that's busy at that moment, you got 50 other people that's waiting for your call or your text message or your email that you can reach out to, because like Tiffany said, there's somebody waiting at the end of the road.
Yeah. Now support system definitely needed. Like that's one of the things that helped me from losing my mind after my son died.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other men, other people around talking to me, calming me down,
Yep.
uh, making sure they sit with me till that anger go away.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah, support system definitely needed.
Because I went through a whole lot. I remember telling Tiffany, I'm like, I don't want to do nothing. I couldn't. I was sitting in the closet in the dark. I don't know. I wasn't watching TV. I just couldn't understand because Jalen was my only child. And we've been locked in since forever. I had him at 17. And I just couldn't understand. It's like the question of
Yeah,
why?
yeah,
Why did it happen to me? And then as I started on my journey and I had my support system, I realized, and this is what I tell people a lot, is that we're all on borrowed time.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that we're all on borrowed time. We never know what our expiration date, but we have to think about some of our kids who passed so early, they finished whatever they were supposed to, what they came here to
yeah.
do. And now we got 40, 50, 60, 70-year olds that are still here because they haven't completed their mission.
There you go.
So we have to look at it. We have to take
Mm-hmm.
grief and look at it in a different context, because grieving is not losing someone, is not the end of the road, and you don't have to battle it yourself. I also say Jalen, he got a new suit. I use that too. He came out of the suit and now he has a new suit on. So he's not necessarily gone. There's things that are happening around you that are unexplainable. It could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be your children, it could be anyone that's no longer here. But they're letting you know that they're still here and that they're watching you and that they're okay. And that's what we have to remember, is that we're probably in more danger than they are. And not
Mm-hmm.
probably, we are. Because at any moment in time, something can happen to us, but they cannot be touched. They're fine. So I talk to Jalen a lot. And for a lot of people who need like some tools, I bought me a Build-A-Bear. And if somebody was to have a camera and look into my household or follow me with this Build-A-Bear, because the Build-A-Bear, it plays Jalen's song and it says, "I love you, mama. I'm gonna buy you a brand new Audi." That was a part of one of his songs, but I wanted to hear "I love you" again. So I put it in the Build-A-Bear. And so my whole family knows who Jalen is. And so it's funny because I was over my brother's house one day when the earthquake happened, and my niece comes in and she says, "Why is Jalen on the floor?" So everybody everybody knows Jalen is this Build-A-Bear, and we treat him like he's regular family. Like my brother has covered him up with a blanket. So yeah, y'all may think we're a little thrown off, but that's how we get through, using different tools to deal with our grief. We know that he's still around. And so there's other things that you can do. You don't have to get a Build-A-Bear like me and have it in the car on the passenger side, riding around with it. But Jalen was my rider. So everywhere I went, he went. So it feels very comfortable to have him on the passenger the passenger side sometimes. I promise y'all I'm not losing. I do have a therapy. I do have a therapist. I see a therapist. But yeah. So that those are just different tools that you can use. If you know your child loves music, play music. And I promise you something is special is gonna happen around you. It's those bonds that you have to remember that you can use to bring them closer to you. That's gonna soothe those moments that you feel like you can't get out of. Water is another one. Water, I love water. So the beach, the shower, the tub, I feel like those are very peaceful places for me. And if I get upset, I'm gonna run to that water because I know that that's what's gonna calm me and get me through the next moment. Because you're gonna have some bad days, you're gonna have some good days, and it's okay. It's all right.
Definitely gonna have some today. I think this morning I had probably the worst day that I've had since my son passed away this morning. So I was just bawling, just crying and screaming. I had to just go in the backyard, just let it out for 2-3 hours, and now I'm back together now.
Yep. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I journal, and I don't like to put all Tiffany's business out there, but I'm gonna do this little quick little story right quick. I ain't gonna say the whole deal of it. I'm just gonna put it in little pieces. But I'm a journaler, so when my father passed when I was younger, I would write him letters. And when Jalen passed, I would write him letters, because I'm a journaler. Like, I like to write. I put down my feelings because sometimes I feel like some people may not understand. And a lot of times you can write things and you can burn it and put it in the atmosphere. I know a lot of people have seen that. Those like meditation or affirmations and things like that. You can say something and then you put it in the universe and it'll come real. So Tiffany calls me one day and she says, "Hey, somebody reached out to me and said, why you don't write her?" And I'm just like, God dog it, why everybody keep going to Tiffany? Like, why why all my people keep bothering her? Like, she got to call and tell me that my people are doing stuff. So that's just another tool that you can use if you're a writer. Write things down, write your feelings down. They have lots of journals out there that says, how do I feel today? And it's simple as just a smiley face. You don't even necessarily have to do a whole lot, but a book, a journal book, music. And for some people, it could be going on a vacation. It could be eating, just whatever is comfortable for you in this space while you're grieving. As long as it's healthy, then do it. It's okay to stay in the bed and watch a movie and not cook today. You don't have to rush to cook dinner. It's okay if you need that moment and you just want to order something in. That's fine. It's okay to not be okay.
Yep. And that's something I'm learning too. Like, hey, it's okay not to be okay. I ain't got to keep pretending I'm okay. So sometimes when people ask me, I just say I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I use too. I use that with my job a lot because they'll check on me. I work remote, and they'll check on me and be like, "Ashley, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm here." Like, it's just one of them days. I'm here. You hear me, you see me, you text me and I respond. So I'm okay. I'm getting through that little moment. And I remember it took me. I probably still haven't really cooked, y'all. So don't like beat me up. But there's a lot of things, and Jalen's been gone since December of 2022 that I still haven't really just navigated yet because I'm still dealing with what my new life looks like. It's not really new, but what the new journey is or where I'm going next, because I know that chapter is closed. And so now we're in a new chapter, and it's like, well, where are you going? What are you doing? What do you like? My brother asked me, he said, well, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And I'm like, I don't got no hobbies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because at 17, we have a kid. I had no hobbies. I jumped from a child to an adult to a parent. I was a parent. So what you mean hobbies? I liked everything Jalen liked. I did everything Jalen did.
Yeah. So for me, it's definitely fresh. My son was murdered 4 months ago in January. So it's real fresh. Now, like you said, I'm learning how to live this new life without my baby. You know what I mean? Like you said, I've been a father my whole life. I became a father summer 8th grade.
Oh wow, yeah.
So you talk about being a parent a long time. That's all you know how to do. Take care of your baby and hang out with them, sports games. Like, that's your fun. That was my fun, my enjoyment. So now, like you said, I'm learning like what do I like, what do I enjoy, and just learning how to have a schedule and just have a routine again.
Exactly.
Ain't no more waking up in the morning and driving to school and picking up from school and help with homework. Like, it's just, everything is new now. So
I think too, a lot of people have to realize that you have, especially for us who were parents early, childhood trauma, like uh, navigating what that looks like and those effects as you became a parent and trying to fix some of those things. Because I bought me a Barbie light bright. I was in love with Barbie growing up, and so I bought me a light bright. And so I've just started finding things that I did or wanted it in my childhood to start navigating to get past those childhood traumas, because you got to heal yourself to get healed, right? So you have to kind of fix some of those things from the past that you never even really thought about, that you never thought affected you, until now you start seeing everything different when your loved one is lost, and now you have to navigate what's going on and what it's going to look like moving forward.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say that, to add to that, once that grief is unlocked, it's the worst thing ever, right? But it's like, how I want to put this. You, like, say if you go through a breakup of a friendship or a marriage or a job, I'm like, do you understand that I rode with, like, say somebody's trying to, it's like it puts up a armor on you. So if people are trying to get to these people, they have dealt with the depths of grief. Like, you might want to find somebody else to play with, because
Exactly.
it's just like people that have been through a lot of grief. Like, that ain't a fight you want to fight. Like, you don't know how long you don't know how long somebody has stayed up. You don't know what they had to endure for that grief. I always tell people, especially if I know their child passed, I be like, you might want to go find somebody else, honey, because you're not ready for that battle. These people are ready to go to war. Not
Ready.
battle, war. War. Like those are people, like people, but it also makes you have courage to stand up for yourself. Because you didn't have a choice on that knockdown, right? But you got a choice on that stand up, right? So it gives you a power. Like, people are like, how do you do it? How do you do it? I didn't walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I don't fear no evil. That's basically how it is. I don't fear no evil. What can I fear? I didn't really walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah.
You understand? So I'm just like, what else should I fear in this world? Like, I'm just like,
Exactly.
I can't fear losing a relationship no more. I don't want to lose my kids. But at least God gave me a break as far as realizing they didn't belong to me. That reality check first. Because the first reality check a lot of parents are getting is where? At the graveyard. You see what I'm saying? But that's why I know, everybody has their purpose and it aligns at even times. But I just know when God say there are blessings for those who mourn.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, she was talking about just having fear, right? Like, I said the same thing the other day. I think, like, after my son passed, like, that was my worst fear came true, right? So we talking about fear and just being scared to do. I don't think there's nothing that I'm afraid of no more. I probably ever will. But yeah.
Because I felt like that too. I realized when Jalen passed that I had separation anxiety. And I didn't know that. And I'm sure probably if I would have talked to a therapist, they probably said, yeah. I remember not letting Jalen go anywhere with anybody except my mom, my brother, because there's just so much going on out here. And I remember telling myself, I want to take my baby everywhere I go, because if something happens to me, then I don't, my people take care of him. But it's a difference with how you take care of your child versus how somebody else gonna take care of your child. So I'm like, well, we get in the car accident, we're gonna get in there together and we're gonna die together. Yep. And so death was my biggest fear, and losing him was my biggest fear coming alive. And it just shows you how spiritual things are, because even though I didn't think that it's like you almost talked it, because you put that fear out into the universe. And that's why they say a lot of times you got to be very careful with what you say, because you can sometimes bring that to life, even though it's not something that you want to happen, because you're speaking it into existence by saying it out loud.
Yeah.
And so I've learned a lot of times that I have to learn how I say things, and just pretty much just living on purpose. Like wherever journey I'm going, wherever road I'm being taken on, I'm not saying no, because I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing. I think I've learned more how to take up for myself, because I can say no a little on things that I normally probably wouldn't say no on.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I'm not for it. That don't even sound right. Nope, I'm not. No, I'm not interested. Before I'm like, dang, I got to do this because I done told them I'm gonna do this. So yeah, I've kind of grounded myself, and so that's one thing that I've learned that is a positive aspect of me being on my journey. It's like being able to say no. I don't want to do it. No, and it feel good too. Like no's have never felt so good in my life, because like now I'm not stressed, and I'm not taking on anybody else's stress, because for one time in my life, I have learned to put myself first. And I've never known what that looked like, because I've always had someone that I had to put before me. Yeah. So now that I know that he's okay, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Mm-mm.
Well, I'm sorry.
I think for me, go ahead, Miss Tiffany. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go on, Ken. I had a commentator on when she said, "Putting yourself first. Grief will make you put yourself first." I didn't understand that. You remember I told you I fell through a wall. I was doing the touring. I was doing the books. But 2 years ago, when my child's father passed, and I had so much grief at one time, I thought I was over the hump, Ken. See, yeah. I thought it was over. I fell back on my face. And I couldn't, and I think God proved to me that now it's time for you to get help. And you need to transition from the coach to the person who gets coached. Yeah. And when I met that mirror, let me tell you something. It freed me in ways that I can't even understand. It was ugly, but it freed me. Just learning how to say no, because I mentally can't handle it. It's hard for us to say no when you say yes all the time.
All the time, yep.
So I had to practice saying no. I have to focus on my child. She's grieving. I'm sorry your rent due. I'm sorry your car. I'm sorry that your cousin Ronnie hit you that day. All of that was, and then it taught me how to prioritize my pain and to deal with what I can deal with, and let God start dealing with stuff, and he deal with me. So I'm gonna have to let him be God for everybody else. And that was my
yeah. I think for me, like learning how to say no, I think that's something that I'm working on. You know, especially when it comes to like the young people that I work with. You know, they call me, "Hey, Mr. Ken, I need this," or "Can you come pick me up?" or whatever it is. And I find myself saying, yeah, and jumping and moving and trying to do that. And I think that's still tied to the what ifs that I'm dealing with after my child. You know, the day that my child passed away, he had been staying with his sister. He had been staying with his sister for about a week or whatever. We hadn't got into it, and he wanted to go and stay with his sister. I said, okay, you know, go over there and stay with her. You know how we do. You'll be back in a couple of days. You're gonna miss your room, your game. You're gonna miss the food in the refrigerator. And he called me the night before. He was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm ready to come home. You're gonna come get me, right?" So the next morning, my fiance, she asked me, "Hey, what time you going to get your son?" And I told her, "Hey, I'm gonna get him tonight after my Zoom call." And halfway through my Zoom call, I got the phone call that he had just been shot. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of what else, as if like if I would have just went and picked him up earlier, if I would have picked him up when he asked me to come pick him up that night instead of making him wait till the next day, thinking I'm still teaching him a lesson. Like will he be alive right now? So like I find myself, especially with young people when they need me, I find myself rushing and going to their need, because I don't want no more like what else? What if I didn't pull up and ask me to come, or it's a reason that they asked me to come pick them up? Maybe they don't feel comfortable where they at right now, whatever it is. So that's something I'm learning how to deal with. And I think like you say, like just learning that, you know, it's not my fault, and removing those what else, I think that's gonna help me a whole lot as well.
Yeah, because I had that with Jalen. I was like, dang, you was 1 week from coming home. I'm like, what if me and my brother just would have went and got him? Like I kept saying, because I kept saying, let's go get him, let's go get him. And it just didn't happen. It happened that way. And I mean, I used to battle with it all the time, but I got to the place, and it took Tiffany and some other folks to just really put me in check about it. Because I really did fought myself for a long time,
Yeah.
because it was like you knew better. You didn't you didn't trust your instincts. You didn't do, and then I just said, you know what? Things happen the way they supposed to happen. Not that we want it to happen, but there's always something that we may not see like right away. And we may get that lesson like toward the end. It may take 2 years, it may take a year, it may take 3 years. But there is nothing that is not on purpose. God does not give us nothing we can't handle. And he has actually purposely put everyone in this movement together because this is his army. And he been prepping us the whole time, and we may not have even noticed it because we was too busy not paying attention. But we always had our armor. We was always prepared for it. So that's just what I try to think about when I pretend that, oh, okay, I'm okay or not okay. Like I'm playing with my emotions at that moment, is that he already had gave me the armor. He already told me that he was gonna put me on the battlefield. He already knew it. He knew there's that day, there's that time, there's that location. I didn't know it. And I possibly could have probably seen something. He could have sent me a vision and I missed it. I don't know. We miss a lot of things. But I do know for sure that he really picked a real strong group of folks, a strong group of parents, because everybody I've met so far are just, man, I don't know how he chose who he chose for this journey, but he chose us on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, he chose us on purpose. So it is 8:11. We're gonna try to get out of here by 8:30. I don't want to hold nobody. But I do have a question for both of you all. What would you leave someone who just started this journey? They just started the grief journey. It doesn't matter if it's a child, a spouse, or a sibling. What do you want to leave them for someone who just started the journey? Like, what's important? What is something that you did that could have been different? Or because grief looks different from everybody, it's not going to look the same. What would you leave that you would say, hey, I will work on this may help? I know Tiff gonna say get that book. So y'all
So
definitely
yeah,
get the book, the steps to grief. But yeah, go ahead, Ken.
yeah. So for me, I think I surrounded myself around other fathers that helped me a whole lot. Um, you know, that's one thing, like for sure, that really helped me. Just other men that understood, that lost a child that understood. So just having that support, having people that you can definitely talk to, you got to do that ASAP. But also just talking about what happened with my son, talking about the situation, talking about how I'm feeling, that really helps me. So that's why when you invited me to do this live, I'm like, okay, cool. Because every time I talk about my son, every time I say his name, I feel a whole lot better, right? So just not running away from it, but speaking and talking about it
Yeah,
as much as you can.
that helped me too. I remember when I first started doing this, I would cry. I would
Right.
be in full tears and couldn't talk. And I think this has become a sense of therapy too, being able to say what you have to say. There's no judgment, and just being able to be open about how you feel about something or how you feel about what happened. There, like I said, it's no judgment. It's I don't want to do this today, or I don't feel like talking to anyone, or today's a good day and this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. And that's why I think this month was so important, because we was able to talk to so many different people from different aspects of categories of what happened and how they deal with grief.
Yeah.
Because parents deal with grief different than how children deal with grief, and we'll touch on children next week, children and siblings,
Yeah.
because that's going to look totally different on how a parent has to deal with that particular child or their sibling when they're dealing with grief. So this was, I mean, this one, we did one for mothers last week, and I thought that was really powerful because it was nothing but mothers. But we'll do this again, you guys, for Father's Day too, and we'll have a whole town hall with just fathers, because I would love to see fathers speak out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would leave you all with this, and it's an insert from my book, and it's broken, because you are broken at first. 7 Steps to Healing While Grieving, and it's just a small insert, but it said, even though you feel like this grief will last forever, remember what the Bible says in Psalms 35. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. My mom there always used to tell me trouble doesn't last always. There's a quote from Frederick that which does not kill us make us stronger, and 2 other quotes, one for Champ Bailey that's in my book, time heal all things, and one for Regina Brett, time heals almost everything, give time. Now with that, grief, it never goes away. It's like, you know how you have a scar, that scar, you remember that scar from I still have a scar from elementary school. Of course it looked like it's healed, but the scar is gonna always be there. But you have to just give time. And like each of you said, if you learn how to empower others, and he said the more I talk about my son, but that means he encouraging somebody, right? It brings me power. Yes, you gonna cry. Yes, you ain't gonna feel it some days, but get up every day. I used to say, long as I can touch the floor, I'll be okay. If my feet can just get out the bed, and that's one goal. If you make up the bed, actually, that's another goal you should
Yeah.
start getting up. If you brush your teeth, you know how it is when you going through
Yeah.
grief. If you take a shower, just walk out the door and say, thank you, God, for letting. So
Right.
each step you take, no matter how small it is, celebrate each of those milestones, because can't nobody take that story away, and nobody can walk in your shoes but you. And that's it.
Well, she left us a
Oh,
note, you
okay.
guys. She left us
Put it on me.
a topic that you guys can remember. Just get up. Just get up and thank God and go. It's okay. And so we getting ready to get out of here. Ken, do you want to leave anything for anybody before we leave?
Um, nah,
No, you
not
said
not
it
really.
out.
I think Tiffany said a whole lot. You said a whole lot, Miss Ashley. And I did as well. The main thing, just give yourself some grace. Just know it ain't your fault, right? And everything is in God's hands.
That's right. That's right. So you guys, we have a couple of different events coming up that you guys can join. Angel Moms Collective, they have a grief circle for ladies, for Angel Moms, and that is, let's see, May 22nd. It's every 2 weeks at 7 o'clock. You'll register online at www.angelmomscollective.com. It is virtual. They also have a Mocktails and Memories, which is a social hour. This is our pre-celebration for moms. And probably we can get with Ken and do some things for dads as well. But this will be for Juneteenth, like a pre-celebration, and it's at a private location. You must register. Once you RSVP, then you'll get the location. It's from 7 to 9. Let's see what else we have going on. We definitely have Juneteenth coming up. That is June 14th through 15th. That's at Piedmont Park. The parade will start on the 14th of June at 12 o'clock. It'll start at Jesse Hill Jr. Drive, and then it'll go to Piedmont Park. If you want to register for that, you'll go to juneteenthatl.com, We'll also have a Garden of Remembrance tribute and candlelight memorial June 14th at 7 o'clock p.m. If your child has not been included in Say Their Name monuments, just go to our website to register at www.saytheirnamemonuments.com and fill out the registration form. We also have partnered up with Apex Museum, and then we'll be putting the monuments into the Apex Museum from June 16th through the 30th. Their operation hours is Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 3. We'll have a panel discussion on June 27th. This is in person. It will be at the Apex Museum, and it'll also be on Apex Museum channel on Roku TV. It starts at 6 o'clock, and everybody's welcome to come. And let's see, what else do we have going on? I think that's pretty much. Oh, we have Juneteenth in Memphis, June 21st. That is from 10 to 1. It is at the Harriet Performing Arts Center. It'll be featuring Say Their Name monuments, and it's in honor of Philip Hatley. And he was killed by the police and some other stolen lives in Tennessee. We also have Rolo Day coming on. Remember our loved ones. That is a public. It will be for the public. It's free. That location, we will let you know soon. It'll be at a park. And then we also have our media survey. If you have not done it, please do that. That's really important. And then we have a petition as well to reinstate the National Police Misconduct Database. So if you have not signed that petition, do that as well. And then we have our tribute book. If you haven't purchased the ebook or the hard copy, you still can. We also have the calendar. And if you want your loved one featured in either one of these, you'll have to get us the information by registering at saytheirnamemonuments.com so that they can be in the new one that we will release in December for 2026. We also have our virtual exhibit where we have loved ones in a museum. You all are able to go there as well. There are 3 different showrooms. They're all in alphabetical order by state. So please check out the virtual exhibit. If your child is not on there, again, you must register at www.saytheirnamemonuments.com. And that's it. Tiffany, do you have anything going on you want to drop on this little calendar, Ken? What y'all got going on that y'all want to leave for anybody?
Just tune in to Real Tiffany Talks on each Monday and Wednesday. I'm on the radio and Envision Radio every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's actually Envision Radio. I'm on the radio. That's Real Tiffany Talks, my YouTube channel, but you can also find a video. And please follow me at www.realtiffanytalks.com so you can stay a part of the conversation.
Perfect. So June 14th from 12 to 5, 8 Hour Park, we're having our Futures Without Fear summer kickoff rally. And that night, we'll be doing a Father's Day dinner as well. So you can stay tuned to get the details for that as well.
That's so exciting when I hear about father events, because all you hear is mother events.
And look, that's my neighborhood. Like that's my community, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, all right. We want to thank you guys for attending. We will post all of this information on Facebook and Instagram so you guys can follow and join. The best way to move on with purpose is to be active. So join a social group. I've joined lots of them. I ain't gonna tell y'all about all the social groups I don't join, but I've joined social groups, and we're moving on purpose. This is our year, you guys. We are going to heal ourselves, and we're gonna break the generational curse in our communities. All right, you guys have a good one, and we out of here. Bye-bye.